What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back along to the subscriber series Team of the Week for round number 6. That's right, we are through 6 rounds, and this round we had our first big subscriber clash of the season. It was, one of the greatest games. No, let's be honest here. It was the greatest game of the series. If you have not seen the Guardians of the Crib versus the Cornflakers yet in round 6, then I suggest you pause this because there's going to be spoilers. Go back and watch that and enjoy one of the greatest subscriber series games of all time. It was a cracker. We also had the All Flakes and the Dragons in action in round 6 as always. And first things first, let's have a look at those results from the round. Of course, there was only 3 matches with 2 of those teams clashing. So the Guardians of the Crib versus the Flakers. Last chance everyone to go see it if you haven't already. But the result finally there was 29-28. The Flakers, oh man, I don't know how they did it. It was a phenomenal game. It looked like it was all over. They come storming back. It was side to side, back and forth. It was all over the place. It was a brilliant game. And congratulations, Flakers. But do not count out these Guardians because, well, they're back in action next week or next round, I say, round 7. And they are up against the Celtic Dragons. Speaking of the Celtic Dragons, they were the second team in action and they looked pretty decent as well. 27-0, they took out Wasps. And then finally, rounding out round 6 was the All Flakes with a 28-14 victory over Munster. Looking ahead now to round 7, we've already spoiled a little bit of what is coming up in the round, but it kicks off with the Exeter Chiefs hosting the Cornflakers. So they'll be looking to continue that unbeaten run, and they'll look to consolidate that top spot in the leaderboard. Right, second game will be the big one. I can't wait for this one because the Dragons, we've seen a bit, we've not seen a bit. I don't know what sort of team they are, whether they are up to the top tier level they need to be or not. We've seen patches of it, we've missed patches of it. So this is going to be a really enthralling game. The Guardians will be desperate and they'll be wanting to go 1 win, 1 loss against the subscriber side. So you've seen the Celtic Dragons, they rested all their top tier players who have played a lot of matches in their last game versus Wasps. They'll be back in for this match up against the Guardians. And finally, the All Flakes will round out round 7 with their match versus Clermont, who have been a decent AI side in the series so far. Right, that's what's been and that's what's coming. But how do the leaders sit in the competition after 6 rounds of the tournament? Tries have changed a lot. So leading try scorers, we had Nanook EC leading the way by a mile back in last round, but that has completely changed now after the round of 6, where we have now 4 players sitting on 4 tries. Goodness me, all the 4s. Of course, Nanukisi is still there. He didn't grab one against the Guardians, but Jim Gino, Joshua Barrett, and Theo Clark have joined Nanukisi at the top of that leaderboard, and they are going to be the only 4 I'm going to put on there because there's a host of players with 3 tries after 6 rounds. So the list would be like this long on the page. I mean, it's not relevant, is it, really, to what I'm looking like? But you get the gist. We got 4 leaders on 4 tries, and the rest are all trying to catch up. I mean, if someone has a round like Joshua Barrett, who scored 2 screaming tries in that big subscriber series clash, they could well and truly go to top spot. Now, Nukisi will be desperate to take back his lead. Line breakers. Now, the big leaders, the big creators of this stat is much like the try scorers. We've got 2 men leading the way here. Samo Coop still up there at the top with 8, but he's got a new buddy there as well, with Jim Gino joining him on 8 line breaks for the season. We've got a couple of others next of just 7 as well, one further down with other Brunso. I take great pride in saying this, that the big man playing in mainly the second row, sometimes the front row, is second equal, I guess third equal, considering they got the 2 at the top. But in terms of line breaks, he's right up there with the best. And Joshua Barrett, after that outstanding round against the Guardians with the Flakers, he's gone straight up to the leaders as well. He sits on 7 also. And then, just like with the tries, we have a pile of players on 5 line breaks. So I'm not going to list all them as well. We'll just have 2 lists, the length of the page, with tries and line breaks. So we'll just leave it with the top 4. We normally try to go for 5, but that's just physically impossible given how this season has gone so far. Into a statistic that's a bit more direct, a bit more easy to split up. We do have a top 5 for points scorers, and Don Butler from the Guardians of the Crib leads the way here easily. He's doing a great job of scoring lots of points for the Guardians, but unfortunately that couldn't prove to be the difference when they met the Flakers. He sits on 55 points, which is a great haul for his season, considering the second place Owen Richards is only on 37. So a good lead of about 18 points, I should say, for the Guardians man over the Flakers man. But Owen Richards proving he can score tries, he can score everything as well. Butler has to keep up this tempo because there's more behind them. Sam Coop from the All Flakes sits on 31. Then we have Shane O'Sullivan who sits there on 27. And then George Pullman wipes out the try scorers with just 23. So no try scorers solely in the top point scorers anymore. We had 4 guys like we spoke about with 4 tries. That's only 20 points. That's not good enough to get you into the leading point scorers. Finally, before we get into the big one, which is the top 15 players from each position of round 6, we look at the tackle counts. And this one, I mean, what a weird week. Let me just roll it up for you all. There we go. Tackle counter is there. Have a look at that. We got one guy leading the way, Adam Conway, a scrum half, on 23. And then we have 3, 6, 7 players on 21. See, now I couldn't do what I did earlier and just say, yeah, here's 4, the rest are a bit too tight. There's only one guy that's out and out in front, and then we have 7 players who sit on 21. So Richard Mockwa from the Dragons, Jack McCalmont from the Flakers, Joseph from the Flakers, De Normanville from the Guardians, Francois Valentine from the Flakers, Mumberg from the All Flakes, and also Friedlander from the All Flakes as well. All sit on 21 tackles for the season. So really heating up there. I mean, it's a player can easily clock up 5, 6, 8 tackles in a game here the way they go. So this one will be hotly contested right to the bitter end. Okay, that is our leaders. That is the guys leading the way in the statistics. Now, here's the big things. Here is the team of the week. Let's kick straight into it. Let's not mess about here. Front row, we have 3 players. Again, we've done very, very well here to get 3 guys from 3 separate sides as well. The All Flakes, the Guardians, and the Dragons all get 1 representative. And this man, starting on the loose head side, I mean, I think I'll just leave his picture up here on the loose head of the front row, because every single week, this, well, let's be fair, this freak continues to dominate his position. Put him on the tight head side, he excels. Put him on the loose head, he excels. Put him anywhere, he'll probably dominate the game. And it's the All Flake captain, Nicholas Friedlander, once again taking that #1 jumper. He has been outstanding for the All Flakes. In the middle will be Mike Hunt from the Guardians. Now, no hooker really excelled, I don't feel, over round 6. I think there's a couple. Rubber probably deserves a mention. He played pretty well too. But Mike Hunt, the captain of the Guardians. Now, I have to give this kid credit here, because it would have been very easy to score, I think, 29-7 at the time of that big clash with the Flakers. But the Guardians could have just gone, okay, we're done. We come in here, we gave it a good shot, but the Flakers have just smashed us. The Guardians, though, they did not give up. They did not drop a minute of that game after that point. And they lifted. They lifted and continued to lift. And you've got to give some credit to that, to the captain, Mike Hunt, who I thought really led the side tremendously to almost the greatest comeback in sub-series history. Partnering them in the front row will be Sam Nicol, part of the Dragons Nicol Club, who were just phenomenal in their game. Dominant, powerful, and really did control the game between the family. And they really look good, and you can easily name all 3 of them in the team of the week at any time if you like as well. Honourable mentions for the front row, Lucas Brett from the Flakers and Shady Streetwalker from the All Flakes, I thought had a decent nudge as well. Into the second row, and it's nice we actually had some real stars from the second row. I'm giving the nod here to Benjamin Grayson from the All Flakes and Josh Howard from the Guardians of the Crib. Yes, the try scorer in the first, 2 seconds of that big subscriber clash. Howard was amazing, and so was Grayson. I mean, it was out and out easy to pick this, really, the front 5 as well. I think most of this team of the week were really standouts, which is great. There's no iffy 50-50s in this one as well, which is always nice. A few honourable mentions here for the second row. Liam Hacker, I thought was outstanding for the Guardians as well. Their Guardians second row had a really, really good match. Arthur Brousseau, we've already talked about him already. He is a great little player. And Oscar Connolly, another one from the Dragons. Both of those two, Brousseau and Connolly from the Celtic Dragons, deserving mention. Another good performance from their second row as well. Into the back row, and this was interesting because normally this is where we have phenomenal players who consistently always perform. This week was a bit slim, and to be fair, I've got the three guys starting. I've only got one guy as a special mention. So we're going to go Theo Clark at 6. We've got Francois Valentine, who could argue with that, at 7. He was just so good from the flankers. And it's his back row partner, Nanukisi, still up there as a leading try scorer. I mean, that back row is just ridiculously good. Francois Valentine. The Valentine brothers had a splendid week of rugby. So no surprise to see Francois in that team, and Nanukisi getting the number 8 nod, both from the Flakers. Theo Clark, though, like we talked about, he is amazing in the back row. He is amazing in the centres. He is amazing everywhere he gets put. So only honourable mention I had was Akahara Kamano, who, I mean, whenever he plays for the All Flakes, he has a strong game as well. He's a bit like Nicholas Freilander, and it's amazing. They're both from the All Flakes. Consistent performance here for the consistent team that just gets victories. Okay, so there's your pack. Let's have a look at the back line. Starting off, number 9, Luke Bendel from the Flakers. Again, I talked about it at the end of this match, the Guardians-Flakers match, so we're going to have a lot of players coming in from this first sub-series clash between the two subscriber sides. And the Flakers are a team that really dominated areas of this game, and it's portrayed brilliantly through to the team of the week. Luke Bendel played very nicely, and really deserved a little bit of a nod there in the number 9 jumper. Outside him is the man from the All Flakes. Amazingly, this is probably the one position that was the biggest struggle to actually name. George Pullman, I've got to fly half for the All Flakes. Had a solid little match, but I was tossing up between him and Andrew Inch from the Dragons. But I've gone with Pullman. I thought goal kicking, and general play around there for the All Flakes was good as they just trudged their way to another victory, didn't they? So we go to the centre pairing, and this was tough. This was really tough. Like 3 guys I think really deserved to be at 12 and 13. Now, I'll go 13 first because I justify these positions. I'm going with the man from the Celtic Dragons. So I think he had a standout and was probably one of the best players of the weekend in the number 13 jumper. This was a hard one though. Tom Charles. Tom Charles gets the nod at 13. He was outstanding, really outstanding. And from the notes, I do write notes after these games. A big exclamation mark, a big asterisk next to Tom Charles. A brilliant game, a real dominant performance from Mr. Charles at 13. Inside him, I mean, it was another one that you just can't leave this kid out. Joshua Barrett, 2 tries, dominant, controlling, just did everything perfectly as well. And the Barrett brothers, unlucky not to both be in Team of the Week. Lucas Brett could have been in there in the front row, but as I said, you just can't keep out Nicholas Freilander. And on that matter, we had Francois Valentine in the back row. Pierre Valentine is the unlucky one. He was the 3rd that I really wanted in my Team of the Week. There was no room for him there, so we've had to leave him out. JP Mukoko from the Celtic Dragons was the other one I wanted to put in there, but I mean, there was no pushing his way through those 3, let alone the 2 that actually got the nod. So really strong in midfield, which is really, really impressive. On the wings, Louis Trotman, no question about that, no arguing whatsoever. He takes the number 14 jumper. He was streaks ahead, man of the match, dominant performance, fast, creative, and you got Trotman from the Guardians. He was the one that sparked the revival that brought the Guardians back into this game. On the left wing, I'm going with Christian Catley from the All Flakes. Not really for his try-scoring exploits or breaking the line. In the breakdown, made tackles, made turnovers, got possession for his side, controlled it, took it back, and created his team with opportunities to go on the attack. That is priceless to have a winger that can do that. So that Catley was very, very strong out there on the left wing. Again, honourable mentions here, a few of them. Jamali Gino from the Flakers, extremely good. Saki Gavadi from the All Flakes, and Tom Chains from the Dragons all deserve a little bit of a mention, but they don't quite make the plunge into the top 15 for Team of the Week. One position left, and it is fullback, and this kid's been here before for the same reason as well. From the Celtic Dragons, Bogdan Ola. He is I think the only fullback we've really seen in the series who attacks. Should have scored a try, made numerous line breaks after kicks, and he was just gifted chance after chance, and he's not one that's going to return you the ball in the air. He's going to return it on foot, and he's going to return it and make meters as well. So the number 15 jumper was a pretty easy one to pick as well. Ike Wrigley had a decent game for the All Flakes, but nothing on the capacity of Bogdan Ola, who's making that number 15 jumper his own and making the Dragons a threat from fullback. Okay, folks, there it is, your team of the week for round 6 of the Global Rugby Challenge. It has been a superb round. I mean, that clash between the Guardians and the Flakers will live on forever. I think highlight reel stuff, end of the season, we are going to go back to that game and memorise and reminisce about how great that was. Hopefully more to come when we see the Dragons take their first plunge against the subscriber side when they take on the Guardians as well. Remember, Flakers fans, don't let the Guardians fans forget that you have not been defeated by the Guardians of the Crib yet, and keep that record well and truly alive. I'm sure we are going to see a meeting of that calibre come the playoffs in a few weeks' time. So remember, this weekend coming up, or this round coming up, I should say, we've got the Chiefs versus the Flakers, we've got the Dragons and the Guardians, and the All Flakes versus Clermont. Hope you're all looking forward to the action as well. It's been great series. I hope you're all enjoying it. Leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the Team of the Week in the subscriber series. Leave me know your thoughts on the Team of the Week side that I have selected. And of course, if you're new around the channel and you enjoy seeing the subscriber series, hit that subscribe button and stick around the channel, because of course there's going to be a season 3 and you could be involved just like all these guys are today. So until next time, thanks for tuning in and watching, and I'll see you for the first game of round 7. Until then, take care.